September, and she snuck in the back door, and she probably sneaked back out. But if you could actually stand and come on up here for just a second. I think everybody might know Sherry. I don't think she wanted to come down here, but we persuaded her because she's been such a big part of the community for years, but especially the last year and a half. And nice article, nice picture. She came to us back in 2014 with over 30 years of experience. She started off working for Health at Home in 2014, and then transitioned to Winfield in 2017. So a lot of you probably didn't know Sherry at that point unless you realized Winfield or saw her throughout the community. Well, in March of last year, obviously we had to shut Winfield down. Sherry agreed to relocate to the guardhouse, and she's been there ever since. And as I said, once she was doing temperature checks and making sure that everybody was fever-free, evolved into your first friendly face that you saw her. And I know when I come in, it's nice to see her, say good morning, you see her car, it was kind of one constant, and it was one positive throughout the pandemic. I really feel, and we all kind of felt a sense of comfort when we had, her up there greeting us. It says that she, since working at the guardhouse, she has gotten to know employees, residents, family members, vendors, and other visitors. Very good, I'm sure. Memorize everything. In her spare time, it says she enjoys keeping her mother energized along with her 11 siblings. She's married, has a daughter, 3 grandchildren. Ashlie Burnett said that there's never a worry if current policies and safety protocols are being followed when Sherry is present. Her bright smile and heartfelt greeting give a warm welcome to anyone coming to the Heritage of Brentwood. I couldn't second that enough, and thank you very much for everything you've done, and congratulations. Blondie, just a couple of things. Mrs. Mackie, she was born in Chicago. She has a son and 2 teenage grandchildren. She has probably one of the most interesting and unique work histories. I've been doing these meetings for over 25 years, and I think she might win. She taught 2nd grade. She was a graphic artist, a paralegal, a lawyer, a university professor of tax law and corporate reorganizations. She became a massage therapist, taught yoga for 50 years, has been practicing meditation for over 45. So that, I challenge anybody to top that. It says she's very relieved to be here at the Heritage, where she lived comfortably without the worries of home ownership. Her European cream golden retriever, Blondie, also enjoys living here and is very attached to my crown and maintenance. So I guess that's a plus. She said she enjoys living a robust life, and every single day alters and illuminates her life. So we could give her a round of applause. I would appreciate that. Introduce residents who have moved in the month of September. If you're here, at least wave your hands, please. We have Bob and Carolyn McCall, moved into Garden Villa 240, relocated here from Massachusetts, but they have a history here in the Nashville area. Mr. Bill Denny, he relocated from Nashville, moved into Magnolia B328 on the 9th of September. Jerry and Carolyn Seal moved into Redbud E205, moved here from Spring Hill, September 14th. The Stancils here, Jim and Shirley Stancil. They moved in, I believe, last Saturday, officially on the 27th, and they relocated from Nashville. And today, Bill and Shirley Drescher are moving in to Redbud E309, and they came from Brentwood. So we'd like to welcome all the new residents of September. And with all the activity that's going on, all the move-ins and all the sales, Judy Good was not able to be here today, but we wanted to make sure that we give that department an opportunity to tell you what's going on. And so Mr. Steve Hovis has agreed to pinch it for Judy. So it's all yours, Steve.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Yeah.
How many of you don't know me? Okay, that's fair. Yesterday, I actually completed my first year here. So some of you may get confused because we have two in the department by the name of Steven. So mine's shortened to Steve, but I think the easier determination between the two of us is I have hair. So if you see hair, well, at least there's hair now. But I'm the Steve. So I'm pleased to be able to pinch hit for Judy today and share with you a little bit about what's going on in marketing and sales. John just shared with you the move-ins we had just recently. The momentum is increasing. It's a lot of fun. Just in the month of September alone, we had 4 closings. As a matter of fact, they all happened yesterday and today. So we had 4 closings, and we had 5 sales, which will end up being closings. So the momentum's building. So if you happen to have noticed that you've seen myself or Stephen or Judy more frequently in the community showing people around, it's a good sign. It's a good sign that the activity has picked up. I believe October is going to be a phenomenal month for us. I'm not going to say anything that might jinx us, but it's already starting off very strong. So how many of you have places in your wing or your building or your respective little neighborhoods that you would like to have more residents in? Okay, great. I'm glad to hear that. We're working hard on that. I want you to know you can help. That if you know of someone that we should be talking to them about the great life here at the Heritage, just simply stop by the marketing office and let us know that. We'd be happy to reach out to them and introduce ourselves and introduce them to the community that's here at large. That, believe it or not, would help immensely. Because when you know someone, we already have probably the greatest ally we could hope for in helping someone become a resident here. So, and I also, before I step aside, I want to thank all the residents that have gone out of their way to stop and talk to people when you're here considering the Heritage. It makes all the difference in the world when you do that. It makes people feel that this is a place they want to be. So we really appreciate that. We always don't have the opportunity to follow back up later and tell you that, but we do deeply appreciate any time you stop. And by the way, you're not ever interrupting anything. What you're doing is you're enhancing that opportunity for us. So we really thank you for doing that. So appreciate that. And we hope forward to keep bringing good results here as well. So remember, I'm the guy with the hair. So Dahlen, I think you're up next.
Thanks, Steve. And projecting into October, looks like things are going to stay pretty strong. Before I turn things over to Dahlen, I just did want to mention a little bit the whole reopening and employee vaccine situation. Reopening, and if you watch the news, you know that we're still in the midst of a challenge with this pandemic. It looked like things are, there are some positive signs. We want to get that dining room so you can bring your family and friends back. We're still in the red, and Dahlen's going to talk about all this stuff, but as soon as we feel comfortable, we want that to happen and to be able to add the amenities back on. As far as the vaccines with employees, when LCS announced that we were going to have mandatory vaccines, I had some concern, not because I don't support the vaccine. I want everybody to be vaccinated, but just with the terrible staffing situation we're seeing in the country, trying to hire people, but doing the right thing. As we say with LCS, our first principle is we serve the customer first and foremost. And the way you serve the customer first and foremost is keeping them healthy. And the way you keep people healthy is you have your staff be vaccinated. Dahlen again is going to be talking on this, but we don't know exactly where we're at, because as you know, there's a 4-week time between the first and second Moderna vaccine. And so somebody would have had to have that 4 weeks before the October 16th cutoff. So we already know that timeline's passed. The Pfizer is 3 weeks. We know that that's passed. If people on the 15th or 16th get the J&J, they're fine as far as our policy. So we don't know exactly. Dahlen mentioned that we're at over 90% of our employees that have at least the first vaccine. So that is very good. You gotta realize we have lost some employees because they didn't want to get vaccinated. So we're seeing a lot of our employees get vaccinated, but when you drop the total number of employees because some left, it's a little bit deceptive, but we're really going in the right direction. I think Dahlen told me we have about 20, we're not saying full-time, but 20 employees across the board that we're still waiting to hear on, and you've had a lot of employees. Folks in the trenches coming to their co-workers saying, you need to do this. I didn't want to get it, I got it, I'm fine. I mean, and that's really what's helped more than anything, when their peers and co-workers assured them that it was the right thing to do. And a lot of people really enjoy working here, we want to work here. So anyways, with that, I will turn things over to Dahlen, and you can get into more of the weeds on this.
Can you hear me? Good afternoon. Wow. All right, so we're going to talk about some vaccines. As John was saying, we're around 91% partially, fully vaccinated. So what I mean by partially is that 91% of our residents, our employees, either have received the complete vaccine or they're in the process of getting the complete vaccine. They've already received one dose of either Pfizer or Moderna, and they're just waiting for their second time for their second dose of that vaccine. We have around 20 employees. We have one department. I'm not going to tell you which department. You can try to figure it out, or you can guess, but we have one department that's completely 100% vaccinated at this time, but I'm not going to tell you. So you can ask me, but I'm not going to tell you, because I'm the only one that knows. So we're excited. We're seeing more and more each day employees coming up and receiving their bringing their cards and being vaccinated. Some of these 20 that we are looking at that are unvaccinated either told us that they have been vaccinated, but they haven't produced any actual paper document to show us that they are vaccinated. So we have to count them as unvaccinated employees. We have a couple other departments that only have 1 or 2 left to obtain our goal, but we'll continue to work on that. They got until October 15th to do that. The county is at 68% fully vaccinated. 68, Williamson County. When we started the month of September, we were around 17-18% positivity rate. Now they've changed it from a positivity rate to a transmission rate, but we still can see what the positivity rate is. Today we're at 11% positivity rate. So we dropped. The vaccination percentage has gone up. I do not have what our vaccination rate for the county was at the beginning of September, but as of today we're at 68% vaccinated in the county. We're a little higher than some other counties. Overall, the state is still around about 42% fully vaccinated. Being in the 11%, about 10% transmission rate or positivity rate, whichever you want to use, we're in the red, considered the red. What CMS, Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, states we're in the red. And as long as we stay in the red, we have to test in the health center our unvaccinated employees twice a week, unless we have a positive, and then we have to test everybody. Since we had a positive a few weeks ago, we're still in that testing everybody phase until this Friday. Last Tuesday, Friday, and then Tuesday of this past week, we didn't have any positives. So come Friday of this week, if we don't have any positives, we'll go back to testing everybody next week that's only unvaccinated. The federal government is mandating vaccines for employers of 100 employees in their company. The federal government is also going to mandate any nursing facilities across the country that receives Medicare dollars, and we receive Medicare dollars to be fully vaccinated for their employees. When they give the exact date, I'm not really sure on the nursing home part. They did go back and say hospitals have to do the same, home health, hospice companies, because it would be even a more tremendous burden on nursing facilities to have a mandate in the hospitals and the other individuals that receive Medicare dollars, not to have that same against them. With us being at the higher positivity rate, being in the red, we're still not doing visitation. We're doing some outdoor visitation. Their family members, loved ones can come sit outside on nice days like this, cooler days, and meet with their families through the screen and porch. Once we drop back down, hopefully we can do that by Monday. If we can drop back down to yellow, then we can allow family members to come back into the health center and visit during the 40 minutes. We're hoping that with the increase in the number of vaccines going out to individuals, we are hoping one day that we can soon get back to where we can freely come into the health center and visit with individuals. Excuse me. Pardon. So we're still working on that. Let me talk also about COVID, third dose and booster shots. Again, last time I talked about there's a difference between third dose and booster. And with Pfizer and Moderna, Johnson & Johnson does not have a booster approval. They don't have a third dose approval at this time. They're still working on it. Moderna has a third dose approval, but they do not have a booster approval. The third dose is for immune-compromised individuals only. Those are the individuals that are receiving, have had a transplant, immune-suppressing drugs, cancer, certain cancers, HIV individuals. So if you're immune-compromised, you can get the third dose of Moderna. You can go to Walgreens, you can go to vaccinefinder.org, find out who has the Moderna. You can go to the Moderna and I can go to Walgreens, wherever they have a CVS, and fill out paperwork. Say you have an immune-compromised system, and you can get that third dose. There's no booster at this time available. They may seek. There's news that they're still seeking whether or not they need to go to the FDA and get that booster approval. If they come out with a booster, they're looking at the booster being half a dose versus a full dose. Their third dose is a full dose. The booster will probably only be a half a dose on the Moderna. Let me go, why? Why's that? Moderna was made with 100 micrograms of mRNA, and it's done quite well. So you got 2 doses of 100 mRNA micrograms, and don't ask me what that is because I can't tell you. But Pfizer was only made with 30 mRNA micrograms each dose. So that's why, and it is not done as well. It's still good that we have it, and still it's good that the individual's doing it. He's still using it, but that is one of the reasons the booster, if they come out with a Moderna, will only get half a dose versus a full dose. And the other reason why Moderna has done well is that there's a 4-week between each dose. It helps the immune system versus a 3-week with the immune system. So Pfizer is approved for the third dose and the booster. Third dose is for immune-compromised individuals, and the booster is for 65 and older, and then 18 to 49 if there's a other issue going on, but nursing facilities. Well, we can't have a clinic in the health center because all of our residents in the health center, most of our employees, and most of our residents here on the Heritage side are receiving Moderna. So you shouldn't go and go get a Pfizer vaccine if you had Moderna. So most of our residents here are Moderna. Most of our residents in the health center are Moderna. So as soon as the government approves a booster for Moderna, we'll arrange with Walgreens and have a clinic on site so we can administer the booster dose to our individuals. If you are immune compromised and you want the vaccine, please go to vaccine.org, find out where the Moderna dose is being given, and then you can arrange for transportation, and they'll be happy to transport you to that pharmacy and receive that third dose. So again, Moderna has not approved booster vaccine. That's why we have not had a clinic. I receive calls every day from residents going, when is we're going to have a clinic? I don't know until it is approved, and then we'll get that information out. I'm not going to talk about the flu because I don't want to confuse you about the flu shot. I want to let Cathy talk about the flu shot. I'm only going to talk about COVID vaccines today. So if you have questions about COVID vaccines, I'll be glad to help you. All right, I'm going to turn it over to Cathy, and let her talk about the flu vaccine.
Good afternoon, everybody. These months sure do fly by. We're going into October. Can't believe it. Anyway, we have the second high-dose flu vaccine going on right now, and I've got to say, whenever we have these clinics, either the COVID vaccine clinics, the flu vaccine clinics, I give you all a big hand because you do it so well. You know, you say we do it well, but you are doing exactly what we've asked you to do. You made the appointment with Karen, you're wearing your masks, you're bringing your medical card, and you're coming at your designated time, and it's going like clockwork. And we are getting you all the high-dose flu vaccine, and it's just very successful. Yesterday, first day, today's the second day. We're doing the 13th and 14th next week. There's still a few slots left there. And then if necessary, we will move it to October 20th and 21st. So, any questions on the vaccine? For those of you that are going and getting a booster, and I am getting calls saying, how long do you have to wait between the flu vaccine and the booster if you did get a Pfizer booster? And you don't have to wait. Some of the pharmacies are actually giving the flu vaccine and the booster together. So just keep that in mind. If you are immunocompromised and you did go get a third dose or whatever, and you still want to sign up for the flu shot, you certainly can do that. On another subject, I I know from time to time we talk about scams. I wanted to just touch on that really quick because now we've got a lot of scams coming out with the COVID cards, and then there's a new scam out that I want to explain to you a little bit. And first of all, why I think of it, everybody take a picture on your phone of your COVID vaccine card. It's a lot of you have, misplaced them, and if you got that here, we do have a copy for you. But more and more, as you can see on TV, if you go here or you go there, you're going to have to show your vaccination status. So just take a picture of it on your phone, and then you have it right there all the time. Okay. As far as some of the scams go, I was shocked to learn when I was doing some research that $40 billion annually is stolen from seniors through various scams in the United States alone. They're selling COVID card replacement cards. There's Medicare scams. There's the scams where you get the phone call saying that your son or your grandchild has been hurt and you need to send money immediately. There is gift card scams. There's all kinds. The one lately is really, they're getting so smart and so professional. There's one out there now saying that it's your bank, and your bank is notifying you that your accounts have been compromised, and that you're going to get a phone call, and then sure enough, you do get a phone call. And so then you think, wow, this really is real. And there have been some people that have actually gone to the great length of moving their account from here to here because they really thought it was the bank and it sounded legitimate, and they moved their funds and their funds are gone. So basically what I want to say is, if you are being contacted and they are asking you for gift cards to verify your Medicare number, to verify your Social Security, that your family member's been hurt, that you need a gift card here, that you need to, if you are in doubt, if it doesn't even feel like it could be right, it isn't. And if you are in doubt, you come see me and ask me, ask Sarah in the front office, ask any of us, does this sound right? Ask Ashlie Burnett. There's times I've even asked Ashlie Burnett, saying, I got a strange email. It's a scam, Cathy. Ask before you start divulging any of your information. So important. $40 billion a year. I was also asked by a resident to talk about the post form. Before I do, I gotta share something. I wasn't going to share it, but I decided, you know what? It just goes to show us that anything can happen to anybody at any time. Yesterday, I was in my office. I was rushing. It was late. It was like 2:30. I still hadn't had lunch yet. And so I real quick heat up my lunch. I'm doing paperwork at my desk. I take a bite of my lunch. I swallow. Boom. I got a piece of chicken lodged in the back of my throat, to the point that the second that it happened, I knew I was in big trouble. It wouldn't go down, I couldn't get it up, and it hurt. And I couldn't breathe. And I was sitting at my desk, and for a minute I was like, oh, wow. And I tried to and it wouldn't move. And I thought to myself, honestly, I'm gonna die right now. And I was the only one in my office, my door. So I stood up and I tried to get a breath and I couldn't. and it was extremely scary. And I went running as fast as I could into the clinic, and there was Sharon and Carey and Carly, and they saw me, and I went through the door, and I went, and they came over, and they immediately did the Heimlich maneuver to me 4 times, and they dislodged it, and here I am. You never know. So I've done the Heimlich a couple times on people in my life, but I've got to say, now I really understand how you don't do it till somebody can't talk. I could not talk, I could not breathe, and how quickly, something like that can happen to any of us. So the message is, don't rush, be careful, chew your food, and know that the Heimlich does work. They just got right behind me and did 4 big thrusts, and I was okay. So that brings me to the post form. That is a physician order scope of treatment form that I have in my office that can be done at any time, and it is optional, and I've talked about it before. What it is, some of you have living wills, some of you have healthcare power of attorneys and advance directives. This is different. There are 46 states that have a post form. And again, it's a physician's order scope of treatment. It is a set of medical instructions for healthcare professionals to recognize and honor your preference and your wishes for life-sustaining measures, such as CPR, a breathing tube, and a feeding tube. Now, this is more for the emergent, for you had cardiac arrest and you want to communicate to us whether you want CPR or you don't want CPR. If you do not have a post form, and we call EMS for you, which is probably 3 minutes away now, 2 minutes away, you are going to get CPR because the emergency medical EMS are required by law to provide aggressive treatment unless otherwise directed by a medical order. In the absence of a post form, patients will receive advanced cardiac life support, including cardiopulmonary CPR, endotracheal intubation, defibrillation. So basically, you're going to get the full cardiac everything if you don't have a post form. I've had some residents, mostly the ones that have this done are people that know they do not want CPR done. And there are many of you that have come to me and say, how do I communicate to the community or to EMS if I have an emergency call, I do not want CPR. This is how. You fill this out, it gets signed by a physician, we put it in a magnet, we hang it on your refrigerator. I have even a wallet-sized file of life that this form goes in that you could keep a copy in your wallet or your purse. So it is not mandatory, and again, it doesn't replace an advance directive. What if you had a prolonged illness, what you want done? That's not what this is about. This says, if I stop breathing, if I don't have a pulse, do you want CPR or do you not? Any questions on that? All right, like I said, there's 46 states that have it, but they do vary. They say from state to state. But once your physician signs it, it becomes legal. So you get your physician to sign it, you bring it back. I will say that once you do it, it never expires. However, if you go into the hospital or you come into skilled nursing, They are to review it with you and make sure that your wishes haven't changed. You can change this at any time. All right. Thank you very much.
Cathy is a tough act to follow. I am only going to talk about Alzheimer's Association. I'm not going to give you any personal anecdotes about choking or anything that'll keep you on the edge of your seat. So, like I said, I just want to talk a little bit about Alzheimer's fundraising. Most of you have probably already donated to the Alzheimer's Association. I've received lots of checks from lots of you in this room. But this is just a reminder that Monday night, so this upcoming Monday, October 4th at 5, that we're doing. And I brought one of the t-shirts today just to show you. So some of you have already been by my office and picked up your t-shirt. If you've lived here a long time and you have an Alzheimer's t-shirt, you want to get this year's t-shirt too, because it's different. And so if you have last year's t-shirt, you'll be out of style. You want this one this year. And we are asking residents to wear these on Fridays in October from now until leading up to the Alzheimer's Walk. So Friday, October 1st, just tomorrow, you'll see a lot of staff around wearing their t-shirt. If you've already gotten your t-shirt, we'd love to see you wear that. And then next Friday, October 8th, you're welcome to wear your t-shirt. And then the third Friday, October 15th, is going to be our Community Alzheimer's Walk. You don't have to have the shirt to walk, so even if you don't want the shirt, we'd love to see you all outside the clubhouse at 10 o'clock on Friday, October 15th. And we're going to do just a walk around the community. We'll probably use the same route that we did last year, and it's right under a mile, but you can really tailor that to whatever you want. So if you want to go halfway and sneak in the back door of Magnolia, you're welcome to do that. The path will be a loop around the community, so we'll start right outside the clubhouse and we'll all end there as well. So I think that's everything for Alzheimer's, but if you have any questions or you want to donate, you can stop by my office, call me, email me, and we'll get you taken care of.
Thank you, Ashlie. I'm moving on to other business. We have a system called One Call, and we have had this since 2007. This is when we have I almost said a blizzard. In Minnesota, I guess a half inch of snow here is a blizzard. Whenever we had inclement weather, we would call you and say, due to the inclement weather, we're doing a buffet tonight. We've revisited this recently, but especially Dogwood, if the elevator is down, we want to call the Dogwood residents and say, you know, your elevator is down, we anticipate. It's a great communication tool. We did it originally for a tornado notification, because when we opened, the only siren was across 65 over on Franklin Road in Concord, kind of by the Baptist church, and nobody could hear it. So I contacted the city and said, any chance of putting one closer? And they put one on Tower Park, and then added the take cover, lightning in the area. They added that guy too. I don't know where he lives, but I hear him all the time. So from a liability standpoint, we quit trying to play weatherman and you know, said get a weather radio, watch the TV news, but we still have the system. We used this during the early months of COVID to do the daily check-in call. Every afternoon, like clockwork, you got the call. Then we went to weekly. Well, when the Fireside Grill had these issues, we used the system to call, and I had a lot of people say, I didn't get the call. We didn't get the call, and I said, it worked. I got it on my cell phone, I got it in my office. Well, at the council meeting, the light bulb went off. A lot of you folks got sick and tired of us calling you every afternoon at 2, and at the end it says, if you want to opt out, hit whatever number. You realize at that point, once you opted out, you opted out. We didn't realize that. So, Sarah went back to the One Call people and tried to just reprogram everything from before all of that. We're not sure. You know, some people, you have a couple and you'll have a landline and 2 cells. We're not sure if we have everybody, but it's a good system that we're gonna wanna use more often, maybe even to remind people of events. So if we do the notification and you didn't get notified, make sure you let Sarah know. If you wanna check to see if your phone numbers are in the system, shoot her an email or stop by. But if you opt out, you opted out. And none of us realized that at the time. So I want to share that with everybody. Also, all the Wi-Fi issues we've been having. Speaking of Sarah, that's become pretty much her priority and full-time job trying to deal with this. I know nothing about fiber optics, although we have it and it doesn't work. I guess during construction, what was installed is probably not what should have been installed. And now we're trying to upgrade and get things taken care of. For the most part, the issues with the dining room and the clinic have been resolved. There's still some glitches, and she's working with the companies that like to point fingers at each other, but we're getting that taken care of. Poplar Hall has not had Wi-Fi, but we do have the company coming on Monday to take care of that, hopefully. These companies are stretched trying to get them here, it's like everything else. So appreciate everything Sarah's done, and that is the most recent update on that situation. The putting green, I'm waiting for it to turn dormant, but I don't think, well, maybe it already has. The putting folks, they are good sports, and they wanted to utilize it. It is not to the standard that we want it to be. So LSI is bringing a company, and if their work looks as good as we think it should really, really look good. But the decision was made with the putting folks that let's wait until it gets a little cooler. We might not be out putting maybe in December or so, and then get that work done. But since it was out of commission for so long, wanted to be able to use that. The resident satisfaction survey. Every 2 years we do a resident satisfaction survey. We compare ourselves to previous years. We compare ourselves to other LCS communities across the country. We are going to distribute that with the help of a lot of you folks here at the meeting. We appreciate that. That will be next Tuesday. We really want you to complete it. We look for a good response rate, and might like to see what you like, what you don't like. It's a good tape measure. Problem is, if you're a market research person, how do you compare 2021 to 2019? When we're comparing, it's a totally different world, but we do want you to still complete that. And what usually happens is it takes several weeks before we get results. Then we look at each department and we have develop action plans. And so even though you complete that in early October, it'll probably be early 2022 before I'm up here to give more of a presentation. We'll be talking to the committees in the meantime, but for the overall, because we have a lot of steps to follow, but please complete that. One thing I would like to do, just take a couple minutes here. Life care services, we have several signature services within our company. Extraordinary impressions is one. First impressions, sales first, there's several of those. We really embrace extraordinary impressions, and that's where the CAUT cards came from. And this is something that we were trying to refresh, reintroduce, and I presented this on February 26th of 2020, and it got pushed to the back burner about 2 weeks later because of everything else going on. I do just want to take a moment here and go over this signature service within our company. It was rolled out in 2009 as a hospitality program, not customer service. I think that was the first thing we all tried to figure out, what's the difference between customer service and hospitality. And customer service is really what we do for you, but hospitality is how we make you feel. So, again, I mentioned earlier, our first principle within LCS is we serve the customer first and foremost. So we rolled this out in 2009, and at that point we realized our employees were pretty good at this. It wasn't a formal program here, but we have a lot of this ingrained in our day-to-day work life and who we are and what we did, but there was still some work to be done. So we rolled it out, and kind of our tagline was, it's the little things. You probably remember that. We had ribbons and everything, and that's really what it is. It's the little things that we can do. The CAUT cards came out of that. And it's funny because now LCS, almost every community across the country uses the cloud cards, and they were developed in our Human Resources Department. I don't think LCS even realizes that we developed those, but we did. Our hospitality committee, they pick the cards that you fill out each month, one front of the house, one part of the house, or back of the house, and they're part of that. They're posted in the break room, they're recognized at team meetings, and it's a nice thing, so we really appreciate you completing those. Hospitality questions are included on our job applications. They're part of our interview questions. They're included on employee evaluations, and you'll see them on the satisfaction survey when you get that too. So again, we're refreshing and building, but just in the short term, I want to just quickly review the 10 promises. You probably heard these all several times, but promise 1, we greet you warmly by name and with a smile. We treat everyone with courteous respect. We anticipate your needs and act accordingly. We listen and respond enthusiastically in a timely manner. We hold ourselves and one another accountable. We make you feel important. We embrace and value our differences. We ask, is there anything else I can do for you? We maintain high levels of professionalism, both in conduct and appearance at all times. We pay attention to the details. So again, this is our goal. This is what we want to do. Do we miss? Yes. I mean, humans taking care of humans. I mean, there's flaws that occur, but this is part of our culture, part of our orientation, and this is what we strive to do. So, with that, I will turn things over to your resident council president, Ms. Nancy Carey.
It's a good crowd. When you sit in the front row, you can't tell how many people are here. So I'm glad to see you all. Sitting on the front row is a little difficult to judge the crowd. I wanted to talk to you just a little bit about something that maybe I haven't made clear before, but just sort of as a resident council person or as a member of any of the committees on the resident council, we have to hear from you. We have to hear your voice if we're going to be your voice in the meetings. It's our job to ask management why or why not, or what if, or to offer a really great suggestion. And we need those from you. We need to hear your voice. We don't mind asking the tough questions, and I can say that John and management do not mind hearing those at all. I'm heartened every time we have a resident council meeting that they seem to welcome the questions. And John is so open that if he doesn't have the answer, he said, I don't know, but I'll find out and I'll get back to you, and he does. They do listen, and we do work together to try to make this a better place as a community. I'm hearing a lot of people come up to me and say, I don't want to bother anybody, or I don't want to be known as a negative Nelly, or all too frequently, can this be anonymous? Well, if you tell us something, of course it's going to be anonymous. We're going to say a resident asked this question. Now that does not mean to write an anonymous letter. John's nodding his head. Anonymous letters, am I right, go right in the trash can? Is that still your policy? It's the policy. Don't write. Let us know and let us ask tough questions if you want. It really helps us out because every month, every chairperson of whether it's the resident council or the committees has to come up with an agenda. And that is not our agenda, that's your agenda. So we need your help. We need to hear your voice so we can speak for you. You know, I can't get up here and not thank people, but I just have to tell you, Cathy Joki, that flu clinic, slick as a whistle. In and out yesterday, well, it was not quite that slick. You know, Bill Carey had to stop and talk. Anyway, finally got him out of there. It wasn't It wasn't anybody's fault except his. And if you know me, you know I'm teasing. I'm the one who stopped him. Also, I want to give a shout out to Mark Black and his merry people who fed us through the downtown the minor fiasco at Fireside. It was great to have hot food delivered, and they always give us a nice smile when they do that. And Dahlen, you have become my go-to person. If there's an argument or a discussion, anything having to do with COVID, I go, but Dahlen says, you know, and then end of discussion. Dahlen's got it. And as soon as whatever Moderna is going to do, I know we'll be first in line rolling up our sleeves for that. Today I wanted to give a shout out and say recognition for the election committee, the resident council election committee. Sarah Britnell is back on the back row. Sarah is the chair of that and such a hardworking chair. Mendel Mayer is part of that, and we were so glad to have Mendel back at the resident council meeting. He's serving his second 3-year term, I'll get it out, and brings a lot of expertise and wisdom. And Robert Jones is also